Hi, my name is Quinn Elliott, and this is my signature assignment video for SPF 301. In this video, I will describe what it means to be a culturally responsive and culturally aware leader and educator, and how I can help assess my students' future needs. When it comes to looking at a vision statement, as a future educator, I focus on the types of learners and hidden curriculum I will face. As an educator, it is important to value the knowledge, experiences, and situations that your students come to the classroom with, and in doing so, you can create a classroom environment that encourages discussion and support from one another, and an environment in which students feel safe and secure. Throughout my time as an educator, I've been able to experience multiple instances in where a student is not aware of a hidden curriculum they are learning. Children need a predictable structure and routine so they can become more independent learners. And as a part of being an educator, creating a hidden curriculum where my students don't understand that they're learning is not something I want to do. You want to create curriculum that students understand the impact and how it can help them in their future. When it comes to the learning environment and the concepts of space, place, and material culture, in my role as a primary educator, it will be important for me to develop a structure and routine within the classroom. The idea of place and space are important concepts. I will continuously try to create an environment in which my students feel comfortable learning, but more importantly, they feel comfortable in their surroundings to ask questions of me and their peers. My future classroom environment will help to support my students' needs and also stimulate their ability to learn and ask questions so that they can become better learners and ultimately better students as well. As it pertains to the achievement gap and cultural bias, this was a particularly difficult lesson for me to understand. In my role as a primary educator, having a deeper understanding of how social, racial, and economic disparities affect students will give me the tools I need to help my students succeed regardless of their background. So although it was difficult for me to understand the achievement gap, I feel like as of now, I have a very good understanding of looking at the differences that my students and I have, and understanding that although I may have privileges they don't have, and they may have privileges that I don't have, we can still find common ground because I am the educator and they are the learner. When it comes to these types of differences in educational success, are what create a gap socially and racially in our educational system. As a future educator, I can do my best to try to decrease the chance of the achievement gap in my own classroom, and also absolutely not allow the cultural bias that normally occurs within a school to happen within my classroom as well. One of the more important concepts I found throughout reading Black Ants and Buddhists was culture as a disability and interpreting cultural conflict in learning environments. Culture as a disability does not refer to someone who cannot walk or is physically disabled. It is meant to describe how our own culture may disable us from seeing others in the way they desire. And in order to be a culturally aware educator, it's important you put your own culture aside and you see that as a teacher, it is important to acknowledge all cultures and see them for who they are. Although I aim to use this to my benefit as I learn to immerse myself into different cultures, in my future career I will put myself in the position of others and learn to understand people from the perspective of someone who is open to all cultures. As a future educator, being aware of pop culture and rituals will help me be more culturally involved in the lives of my students because I will have knowledge of what is relevant and what is not in society. As future educators, being aware of pop culture can help you in many ways. Our students are more connected than they've ever been and before and pay more attention to relevant news, which is exactly why you also have to be aware of what is going on as an educator. Pop culture and rituals take up the majority of our lives and influence our thoughts, behaviors, and decisions. As educators, it's important that we use this as positive to influence our students by having a clear and concise knowledge of relevant culture so that they feel prepared as they enter our classroom. In order to be a culturally responsive teacher, I believe in my role as a primary educator, it is important to be aware of the various cultures that I will be responsible for. And as I stated throughout the duration of this screencast, it is not only important to be aware of cultures, but to adapt and to understand these cultures, and to not look at anybody in negative light because of the circumstances that they have. As a future educator, being culturally responsive goes beyond just being willing to adapt. You have to be able to find the knowledge of a culture and realize how that culture can help you grow as an educator. And for the most part, that will conclude my screencast for my signature assignment for SPF 301. This is my cover letter right there. And throughout my signature assignment, there is in the screencast, there are references located. Thank you very much.